Many years ago, interest in 3D platformers had waned. Besides the likes of Nintendo's offerings, diversity in the genre had all but dried up. Thankfully, 3D platformers have gone through somewhat of a renaissance in recent years. Not only are we seeing new 3D platformers, such as the recent Creo the Kangaroo reboot, but also remasters and remakes of classics, such as the Spyro Reignited trilogy and SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. BandaiNamco appointed Now Production, the studio behind the recently released Pac-Man Museum Plus, with the task of remaking Pac-Man's original 3D platforming outing, Pac-Man World. How well does Pac-Man World Re-PAC hold up? In a world exposed to modern marvels of the genre, like Super Mario Odyssey and A Hat in Time? Let's find out. It's Pac-Man's birthday and the whole family is celebrating. A visually impressive cutscene reveals that while setting up the festivities, Miss Pac-Man, Pac-Mom? Didn't realize Pac-Man got a divorce, and their children are abducted by Inky, Blinky, Pinky, and Clyde, who mistake them all for being Pac-Man himself. These ghosts must be pretty stupid, since they even kidnapped the dog. And Puka, from Dig Dug, who makes a surprising appearance for some reason. I dig it. Pac-Man cues in just in time to see his family escorted away via air balloon. It's now up to Pac-Man to travel to Ghost Island to save his family and take down those evil ghosts and their minion master, Pac-Man, an annoying evil mechanical Pac-Man thing. Pac-Man World Re-PAC is a from-the-ground-up remake of the original Pac-Man World. Everything from the visuals to the control scheme have been completely retooled. Pac-Man can run and jump through the game's gorgeous environments, very similar to how he did in the PlayStation 1 Classic. Like the original, he is able to butt bounce to take out enemies, as well as use pellets as projectiles. Pac-Man is also granted special abilities as he finds their corresponding power-up. Standard power pellets will transform Pac-Man into Mega Pac-Man. As Mega Pac-Man, he can gobble up enemies in the world, including the seemingly invincible ghosts. The Metal Dot power-up unsurprisingly turns him into metal. How original. This grants him temporary invincibility, allows him to take out all metal enemies, as well as sink to the bottom of any underwater section. The Bomb Pellet power-up creates an explosion out of Pac-Man's next butt bounce. This charged up butt bounce will kill all nearby enemies, and is also cleverly used to solve some environmental puzzles. Being that Pac-Man World Re-PAC is a modern release, the controls have been heavily modified to better fit modern standards. This includes the underwater sections, which have been heavily tweaked, resulting in much less frustration from the PlayStation 1 original. In addition to updating Pac-Man's pre-existing moveset, he has also been given a new ability. For the Pac-Man World series anyway, the hover jump, which was first introduced in Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures, makes a return, allowing Pac-Man extra airtime, making those larger jumps much easier to handle. Pac-Man World Re-PAC's quality of life changes continue with its performance. The PC version offers the option to unlock the frame rate within the options menu, resulting in buttery smooth gameplay. You can also fully customize the controls, creating a layout that fits your specific needs. The game's lack of ultra-wide support is a bit of a letdown though. I'm fine. Being that Pac-Man World Re-PAC is a remake of a 1999 platformer, variety in the level design is a bit scarce. Most of the game's levels utilize a very linear layout. This dated design model can be most compared to Nintendo's Super Mario 3D World, which did recently see a Switch release. The simplicity of the get from point A to point B approach results in a lack of diversity and exploration. Thankfully, each of the game's levels offer various scattered collectibles, giving players much more to do. These additional collectathon elements work in Pac-Man World Re-PAC's favor. To get the game's true ending, Pac-Man must rescue all of his family members. While the level design is admittedly stale, some of Pac-Man World Re-PAC's boss encounters are incredibly unique. Each boss fight either incorporates one of Pac-Man's abilities, requires the usage of a specific power-up, or just fundamentally changes up the way the game plays. For example, the boss encounter at the end of the Funhouse area is a first-person go-kart race against ghost clowns. Some additional go-kart tracks or an expansion of that initial minigame would have been a welcomed addition, as well as offer up a bit more variety. Maybe they're saving that for a Pac-Man World Rally remake. Exploring Pac-Man World Re-PAC's main hub area will reveal some additional bonus content. Each of the game's 6 worlds contain 3 3D maze levels, with 3 additional mazes being unlockable via hidden areas within the world's levels. Each of the 6 mazes within each world are themed after the corresponding world, and even have some of those world's obstructions and enemies incorporated into the maze itself. The mazes not only offer up a nice change of pace within the levels, but also offer up a modern take on the classic Pac-Man formula. These sections are incredibly reminiscent to that of Pac-Man Adventures in Time, which is a PC exclusive that released in 2000. I really need to discuss this game at length someday, since it's such an underappreciated gem that I don't think many people actually even know exists. Upon completing Pac-Man World Re-PAC's main story, Classic Mode will unlock. Classic Mode places an old-school Pac-Man arcade cabinet onto the main hub. This cabinet unsurprisingly contains a playable version of the original 1980 arcade release of Pac-Man. The emulation is spot on and feels very reminiscent to the version released recently in Pac-Man Museum Plus. Unlocking classic games is always a welcome addition, and something I think developers should do more often. Graphically, Pac-Man World Re-PAC has been completely overhauled. Now production, having just finished Pac-Man Museum Plus, opted to recycle some of that game's 3D models. This includes Pac-Man, his family, and the ghosts. That said, the remaining graphics have been completely remade from scratch. The world of Ghost Island contains dynamic locations, each with their own unique theme. These range from bright and sunny beaches, futuristic space-inspired fantasies, to dark, melancholy mansions. It's difficult not to appreciate how drastically different the visuals look from the original release. Comparatively, Pac-Man World Re-PAC looks like a completely different game. Now Production did an excellent job modernizing the game to fit the visual standards of 9th generation gaming. One of the biggest issues Pac-Man World Re-PAC suffers from is its lack of depth of field. Some sections of the game contain platforms that are difficult to gauge the distance of. These sections are a constant reminder that this is very much a remake of a game from the past. This issue, coupled with the bare-bones level design, hold Pac-Man Re-PAC back in comparison to more modern 3D platformer releases. They all can't be a slam dunk like Mario Odyssey, can they? Much of what made the original Pac-Man world great in 1999 still translates over in the remake. However, many of the dated mechanics and shortcomings are made much more apparent. Pac-Man World Re-PAC is pretty run-of-the-mill as far as remakes go. Don't be rude, let me finish. However, the game it's set to remake was already an incredibly fun experience. The modern upgrades and changes are welcomed, making this the definitive way to experience Pac-Man's first 3D platformer. Hopefully this leads to a remake of the 2002 sequel, which had a jam-packed, badass arcade featuring classic Pac-Man games. Pac-Man World Re-PAC isn't groundbreaking, and it doesn't revolutionize the platforming genre, but it does breathe some new life into Pac-Man's first 3D platforming outing, and is genuinely fun to play. Hey, thanks for watching. Comment down below letting me know what 3D platformer you'd like to see remade. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for future Frank endeavors. Until next time, peace.